TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Hey, gang, good afternoon. I guess it's afternoon. It's 12:15 now. I was supposed to be on at 12 o'clock, so I apologize for being a few minutes late. It is what it is. It's a couple things that are important in life sometimes, right? My wife had to fly out this morning, so airport run and all kinds of other things that sometimes get in the way of certain things. But the one thing I will tell you is no shortchanging what I do. So in other words, I did not go and say, hey, look, I'm going to cut corners and do this and do that, because, just to fit stuff in this business, when you're trying to make money, and this is the only way I make money, you need to be sharp, right? You need to, and if you're not sharp, you don't play. So, that goes to mentality pieces. And, we haven't really talked about that kind of stuff, but you need to be mentally on your game. And if you're not mentally on your game, there's no point. There's no point in playing. So anyway, that being said, I apologize for that. But in lieu of that, one of the things that happens because of those things is in terms of pressed for time to get on the air, I'm just going to give out what I give to my guys today. So this will be kind of fun, and we can handicap a little bit too as I do this. So I thought about just going into this with saying no picks yet. Let's handicap these games and then do it live. But that kind of can run long, and that can kind of be a problem. So I did that. So I've got some plays to give out, and I think that'll be good. So a couple of things, right? We had a big show yesterday. We had a lot of people, a lot of conversation, a lot of comments. So that's good. The show's growing. Things are better, getting bigger. Not sure what Saturdays are going to look like, or Sundays, or noontime starts and all that stuff. So suggestions are more than welcome. If noon's times aren't good times, and 12:30s are better, or 1 o'clocks are better, just let me know, right? So because ideally the whole idea is to do, get this stuff out to you so that you can use it. So that's number one. Number two, I'd like to thank everyone who is really helping. Like we have Jay Barry's been following and doing some stuff, and he followed me on Twitter, and he's asking good questions, and I appreciate that. And I think that if we had 150 Jay Barrys, so to speak, then we're going to have great questions. We're going to have lots of retweets. We're going to have lots of things being sent out, and the show will grow. And as the show grows and as things happen, we're able to invest in different ways, because we can get sponsors and we can do different things that make things even more fun. So anyway, all that being said, I appreciate what's going on. I appreciate everything that's going on, and happy for what's happening. Yesterday, I think I gave out some plays. Some worked, some didn't. I think yesterday gave out Tampa Bay first 5 innings. That play worked out pretty good. Pitcher for Tampa Bay was really good yesterday, Bradley. I gave out, I think, since St. Louis too, and that didn't work out real good because Sonny Gray wasn't the best pitcher in the world yesterday. And I gave out Seattle with Wu yesterday, knowing that he was not necessarily in good health, but I thought they would get rid of him, get him out of the game. and the bullpen would work out. Well, they left him in a little too long, and then Seattle quit scoring runs. So that game went 4-4, and then they lost an extra inning. So I was only 1-2 on the show yesterday. It wasn't good. I did talk about a play that Jay Barry wanted me to talk about yesterday, Detroit and the Dodgers. I think it played out all the way I thought it would until the very end when the Dodgers beat Detroit in the last inning there. So, Jay, if you're listening, I apologize if I cost you a winner. But at the same time, I think I did tell everyone the better. My thought was the better play would be under, and it did go under. So maybe somebody played it that way. I don't know. But the point being is that those are the things that we did yesterday, and what we're going to do today. And we brought up yesterday Jordan Hicks. And Jordan Hicks, the pitcher for, hey, Jay, Saturday baseball. Yes, sir, my friend. We're going to talk about this board because this board's crazy today. But we had a issue with Jordan Hicks and his innings and where he's at. And we talked a little bit about that with Garrett Crochet yesterday. So I know there's a pretty popular guy on Twitter, and he's a lot of times referred to as the mayor of Las Vegas. Well, he was on MLB Network yesterday, and he gave out that play to the MLB team on that show of White Sox first 5 innings, and I'm just I looked it up yesterday, and he's at 100 innings, 90 innings, and that's the most he's ever pitched. So, look, guys, I don't know how to say it other than baseball is a sport where spring training is extremely important, not to batters so much. I mean, they're gonna get their timing down eventually, and they just need to see pitches. So if they can get 50 to 70 at bats in spring training, they're going to be ready to go. But a pitcher, they need to build up their shoulders and their arms, and I don't know if you realize what that means. We're not going to go through spring training stuff right now, but it just means that they go through the same motion, the same delivery, the same spots in their arm over and over and over and over. And because they do that, their body can wear down. And what the goal is to let them throw loose and easy and still get the result we're looking for, right? We want them to be loose and comfortable, no tightness, no anything, and still be able to throw 100 pitches. If you're a Major League Baseball starter, they want to throw 32 starts. They want to throw 200 innings. So ideally, it's wear and tear on that body and on that arm. And if you've never thrown, more than 100 innings, you can't just go out and throw 200. It doesn't work like that. Your body gives out. So I think, when you're watching these things and we're making these lists of pitchers, Jordan Hicks was on there, and now maybe Garrett Crochet is on that list. So we'll keep an eye on it and keep a look. Now, in today's board, man, let me pull it up this way real quick. Where's Webby at? There it is. So when I was looking at this and I started breaking this stuff down, the first game today is the Dodgers at 1:00 against Detroit. And we have a lot of weird stuff. And what I mean by weird stuff is there's a lot of guys that are hurt. There's a lot of guys that were ineffective and were taken out of rotations. Because, a starting rotation at the beginning of the season is 5 guys. They rotate every 5 days, or 6 guys, however they want to put that out there, but 5 or 6 guys, and they go every 5 days, and then they rotate. And the next guy pitches again, and just a rotation, right? That's why it's called a rotation. But things happen in the course of a season, and because of that, you end up with all kinds of weird stuff. And today's that day. You have Robleski, who's pitching for the Dodgers, and I think he's taken place of Yamamoto, or he's taken the place of Glasnow, or he's taken the place of somebody. So those guys are hurt, so they're not pitching. So this is his second start. Montero is pitching for Detroit. I think this is his third start, and Montero is taking the place of an ineffective Maeda. So already you've got kind of a weird thing going on there. Ortiz is pitching for the Pirates today. He's their long relief guy, spot starter guy. So he's pitching. You've got Wesneski, who's pitching for the Cubs. You've got Phillips, who's pitching for the Phillies. There's Keuchel's. I don't know. Keuchel's pitching for the Brewers. This will be his fourth time going. You've got Williams making his second start, coming back from the injuries. You've got Birdsong, who's pitching for the Giants, because they don't have any pitchers, so that he's got to pitch. He's a minor league pitcher, but they don't have anybody else, so he's got to pitch. You've got Assad coming back from injuries. You've got Diaz pitching in Arizona, making his second start. Soriano is making his second start off of the injured list. So I don't know how many pitchers I just said, but that's like 7, 8, 9 guys. There's 15 games, there's 30 guys, and 7, 8, 9 guys aren't regular starters. That makes handicapping and line creation a little more challenging, and it also makes what you look at it makes what you look at harder. So how much do you trust certain things, right? Because as the season goes on and these guys make 17 starts by half the way through the season, you kind of have an idea of what they can do, and kind of get a good idea of where they are, and if they've made changes, and if they're good or they're not good. That doesn't mean that we don't look at the game to bet it, because there might be value there. There might be something that stands out. There might be something that has nothing to do with the starting pitcher that you want to bet. So you want to look at it. But I would tell you that the better way to kind of do some of this stuff and is to stick to what works, and be careful with what is guesstimating. And when I say guesstimating, like, you just don't know sort of how some of these guys, like, I don't know what Robleski's going to do today. I just don't. This will be his second start. The first time he pitched, if I go back to my other numbers here, the first time he pitched, he threw a game score 35. Well, I can tell you how I normally do things. And normally what I do is, if it's the first time they're pitching, they're going to throw 3 starts or 4. And in those 3 or 4 starts, they're going to establish a baseline, meaning that there's going to be a high number, and it's an outlier. It's an outlier high. They're going to have an outlier low, and then there's going to be a couple of medium numbers. When they get that in there, that's their baseline. That's what they are. Excuse me. They might make adjustments and over the course of the season get better or improve, or the league adjusts to them and they get hit. But that's where you start. And if you have a guy like this who has been called up, the question becomes, is he really better than an average pitcher to start with? Well, the WAR numbers don't think he is. He's a 0 or a -1, minus 0.1. So he's a call-up player. So I would say that his 35 might not necessarily be, that might not be a outlier low. That might be an average low. It's not necessarily what he's going to throw every time he pitches, but if his maximum is a 50-55, 35 is not necessarily out of the realm of, okay, that's the best he is. And Montero, this is his third start. He has like I look at the data for a starting pitcher over the last 30 days, and Robleski's got 4 innings. So it's kind of hard to go, hey, this is what this guy's going to be. And the same thing sort of for Montero. He's made 2 starts and he has 1 bulk start. So I think he's got like 11, 12 innings. So that's kind of tough to go and say, hey, this is what this guy is. But he's got a little bit more. He's got a little bit more to it. He's had another start in there back in, I don't remember if it was May or April. So he's had another start. And his game score for the season is a 53. So he's going to be a little bit above average. Decent pitcher that way. But at the same time that I say that, he's off a game score 72. That's going to be an outlier high. There's nobody throws game score 72 over and over and over and over. Nobody. So the expectation is going to be in this game, for example, is we don't know what we're going to get out of Robleski, but he threw a 35 the last time. So even if he throws an average game, that's probably better than what he did the last time. And then you throw in their halfway decent bullpen. And then Montero threw a game score 72. So he's likely not going to do that. He's likely going to have an offset, and it's going to be an offset to the lower side. So in this particular case, I would favor just on that part of what I just said, I would favor that the Dodgers are going to have a better chance today against Montero, even though Montero might be a better pitcher. So having said those things, then you go and say, all right, well, where's the offense at? And the offense for the Dodgers right now, they're 21st out of 30 teams. They're not really cranking it out. They only have 1 guy over 1 WAR, and they got 4 guys that are -1 or more. So their lineup's not constructed real good. So I'm like, well, that kind of offsets some of that, edge that you might have in the starting pitcher, because on the other side, you look at it and you go, well, the Tigers are 4th and they're 9th in isolated power. They have 5 guys over 1 WAR, and there's 0 batters in their lineup today that are going to be -1 or more. So they have none of those guys. So they don't have anybody taken away from their offense. They only have contributors. And that tells me that even if this kid goes out and kind of throws a pretty good game today, Detroit has a good chance. So then you go and say, well, what's the line? Where's the line at in this game? And the line is the Dodgers -123. My number was 128, so that's pretty close. I don't see any value here. I don't think there's any reason to go out and go, hey, let's go bet the Dodgers, because if Montero has a little bit above average, they say throws a 55, and say the other kid throws, I don't know, a 50 or a 45. Well, the Dodgers offense has a harder time right now to try to beat Montero. Of course, they could beat the bullpen, but the other kid is going to. Who knows what you get from him? So the reason I'm bringing this up this way is because I don't want to put my money in and be less convicted when I go to the window. If I go and say that's the best bet I got today, then you know what? I'm going to see what I got tomorrow, because there's going to be 15 games tomorrow. And normally there's going to be 15 games the next day and the next day and the next day. Of course, we're 2 days away from the All-Star break. So Monday will be an All-Star break. So we won't have a game on Monday. So anyway, the point being is I just want to kind of bring that up is there's a lot of things in play when you look at this stuff. And you either talk yourself into, I guess I shouldn't say it that way. It's not the right way to do it. You paint a picture. And what does that picture look like? And does it make sense? Is there a game flow that you can create that, based off of the information you're looking at, and based off of the data and all the other stuff, that actually makes sense to the game, to the flow of the game? And then does it match into your betting requirements to make a bet? And if you have those things and things start to line up, it doesn't matter what the game is. You just bet it. Because I will have games, and we're going to go over one today, where I don't know that there's a lot of value in the game, but I think I'm going to win a bet, so I'm going to bet. I think that makes sense, right? If you think you're going to win a bet, even though if you made that bet 1,000 times, you might not win them at a percentage EV positive number. You still want to make the bet if you think you're going to win, and you have no inhibitions about walking to the cashier window and going, here's $300. I'm going to come back in 3 hours and I'm going to collect my $600, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it works. If you have a fear of giving over the $300, then don't bank the bet. That's what it means to be convicted at the window, right? You want to, if you have a fear of handing over that money that you're not going to be able to come back and collect 600, then don't do it. Because that's the goal. You're only betting to win the money. I'm sure it's fun to watch a game that you got money on, but it's sure as hell much more fun to win the bet than it is to lose the bet. I mean, come on, that's what we're doing, right? So, all right. So, one game that I want to bring up real quick. I didn't bet this game. I'm not putting it out there, but I thought it was interesting because, I talked a little bit about the White Sox yesterday and Garrett Crochet, and Chris Flexen's pitching for the White Sox today, and Chris Flexen, I don't know what else to tell you. He's been around the block forever. He's a guy that I'm trying to switch to this number over here that I wanted to tell you about. He's a guy that gets hit, and the reason he gets hit is because he didn't have any stuff. He's the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball in terms of what his stuff is. In other words, how hard he throws, with the movement on his pitches, his spin rate, all that stuff. He's the worst one. His stuff is 48. 48. I don't think I could go out and throw a 48 number anymore, but at one point, I'm sure that I was able to be much better than a 48. 48 is not good, but he does have a pitcher plus number of 95. So that means that, man, that guy he's putting the ball where he needs to put it. But I will tell you, even though he's putting the ball where he's putting it, he has started 17 games already for the White Sox. Can you believe that? That the White Sox don't have anybody else better than Chris Flexen to go out there and throw 17 times? Would it surprise you to know that of the 17 times that he has started, the White Sox have won twice? That's it. They're 2-15. 2-15. So what makes you think they're going to win today? My opinion is nothing. There's nothing that tells me that the White Sox are going to win this game today. 100% nothing. They're not hitting, right? The White Sox right now, there's 30 teams in Major League Baseball. The White Sox are 30th in offense. That's not very good when you're dead last. And you got a pitcher that's going out there's only won twice out of 17 times. They've got one guy in offensive war right now at 1 or above, and they got 7 that are taken away from the productivity. They are -1 or more. So that's not good at all. They are -43% weighted runs created plus. So they're 43% worse than an average offense. So they're not hitting, and they got a terrible pitcher. But what didn't make sense to me and why I didn't go bet it, is that the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're 27th in offense. So they're not necessarily going crazy on offense. I thought they were doing a little better than that, but they're not. And they got 2 guys above 1 more. And then they got 6 guys below. So they got a bunch of guys pulling away from their offense too. I think they can do okay against Flexen. But at the same time, I tell you that the number, the betting line in this game is Pittsburgh is -139. My number was 132. So right in that same ballpark. There's not any value to bet it. But I thought, look, if this guy's pitched 17 times, only won twice, why is he going to win today? I don't think he's going to. So I think that, you got to draw a line in the sand somewhere, and you got to go and say, well, I don't want to pay minus 139, even though that's a number that I will pay, to bet a game that maybe will win. I think the Pirates win, but I'm not totally convicted, so I pass, right? And in lieu of that, I went to a game like this. Okay, the game that I'm betting on, and that I'm going to give out to my guys today. I haven't put it in my system yet, so this will be fresh. I don't know if that's a good way to say it, but it'll be first time hearing it. And if the guys that I don't know that they watch me on these breakdowns or not, but the first play that I'm going to give out today is gonna be where's this game at? This is here. This game starts at 4:00, so we got plenty of time. But this is rotation 957, 958. This will be Washington and Milwaukee, and I'm going to preface this by saying my number on this game is Milwaukee minus 121. The number right now, right before the show when I updated these, the number on the game was Milwaukee minus 132. So I'm not betting the Milwaukee side. I'm going to bet the Washington side. So I like the underdog here. I like Parker plus the number. So, depending on where your outs are and whether you have a dime line or not, it's going to be plus 122 or it's going to be plus 112. So at plus 112, it's not necessarily the greatest value because it's not there. But at plus 122, you got a half a percent of EV positive. So but my point is going to be this. I like that a little better than I like the Pirates game, and the reason is going to be a couple of spots here. Number one, when I pulled these up and I started looking at Washington on offense and Milwaukee on offense, they're kind of even. They're a little bit different. It's a couple of things, but the Nationals are 9th in offense. Milwaukee's 10th in offense. But Milwaukee, and I'm going to flip the screen one more time. I apologize, guys, for flipping these screens around. But the Brewers are a team that when you want to bet on them and you want to bet on their offense, you bet on their offense when they're facing a right-handed pitcher. Their offense versus a right-handed pitcher, and I'm pulling it up right now. Their offense, they are number 8 in baseball, 10% above the average. They're really good. That's there's only there's not very many teams that are that high. There's only 13 teams that are above average. Most of them are below average against right-handed pitchers. So when you're 10% above, that's a pretty good number. So think about that. And then when you switch the same thing, you switch it to left-handed pitching. Milwaukee, they dropped to 102, which is 2% ahead, but they're ranked 14th. And there are 15 teams that when they face left-handed pitching is better than average. So they're right at the average number, but they're way better against right-handed pitching. So I like the idea that Washington's throwing a left-handed pitcher against the Milwaukee Brewers today. And the other fact that I like here is that the pitcher that's pitching for the Brewers is Dallas Keuchel. And I'm going to pull up his numbers that I look at for a second because I think it's important to understand that just on a nutshell, when you look at certain things, here he is. When you look at certain things, you go, oh, my God. He's made 3 starts. And in those 3 starts, the Milwaukee Brewers haven't lost. He's 3-0. So that's pretty good. That tends to me to think, I need to support him and back him, right? So if you did that, you're going to be supporting the where's he at? My list over here. Is it on my other page? No, it's right here. He is the one, two, three. He is the fourth worst pitcher at controlling offenses on the board today. Fourth worst. He's a 141 SOPS plus in his 3 starts, and I use 3 starts, and I'm okay with 3 starts. 141. So he's 41% worse than average there. And the problem, and it's not a problem. It's a conflict. How can this guy be 3-0? And he can't control the opponent's offense? Well, it's because typically he's going up against somebody else that gets hit, or the Brewers offense does well, or whatever. It's not because of him. It is not at all because of what he does. He's pitched 13 innings, given up 15 hits, got 8 walks, 3 homers. He's not a pitcher that I want to support in any way. His xFIP number 5.33, Sierra number 5.66. Now, I tell you these numbers, that doesn't matter. What really matters is he's in the 25% worst of all of baseball in pitching. The worst 25%. And Parker, and this is where the numbers matter. So if you look at the Sierra number, okay, now we haven't really talked about Sierra and broke it down and what it is, but Sierra is an ERA that is better than ERA. So it accounts for things in different ways. It's a sabermetric number, but it's a much better form of what a pitcher is doing than what ERA does. An earned run average doesn't reflect how a pitcher pitches. It just reflects how many earned runs the guy scores and the number of innings that he pitches. So Sierra is a little different than that. And Parker is a 3.71 Sierra, and Keuchel's a 5.66. So you have almost a 2 Sierra difference. Well, that 2 Sierras, think about that, that's like almost a 2-run difference. 2 runs, almost. And then you can kind of slide it out and go, well, Keuchel's a 5.93 walk rate. So that means strikeout rate. So he doesn't strike guys out. You want that number to be 10, 9.5. And he's 5.9. So when you do that, that means that the offense for the other team, they're not going to strike out, so they're going to hit the ball. So now you have balls in play. So the advantage on balls in play goes to Washington. The Sierra advantage is almost 2 runs, goes to Washington. Then you have a guy in Keuchel that his walk rate is 5.27. He is the second highest. Luis Heel over the last 30 days is the highest. But he is the second highest guy of actually putting guys on base. So not only are balls going to be put in play because he doesn't strike them out, he's going to put guys on base, and his whip number, walks plus hits divided by innings pitched, is 1.68. And the reason for that is his batting average against is 273. So it's not like 300. If it was 300, that would be a 2. It would be super high. So I think that what you're going to run into here is a pitcher that can be taken advantage of, has been to a degree taken advantage of, but hasn't lost bets, hasn't lost games. So, and they're the Brewers, right? So, and what I mean by saying the Brewers, they're the division leading Brewers. They're a good team. Well, let me flip this a little differently so that you get a perspective on really what the Brewers are and aren't. So if I were to go and rank all of these teams, and I'm not going to do that because that's kind of boring for everybody. But if I were to go and I'm going to say, hey, the Milwaukee Brewers, I got them at 86 wins power rated right now. So that's a 5.32 winning percentage. The New York Mets, for example, they are 5.29 win percentage. So if the Brewers played in the NL East, they'd be the 3rd best team. If they played in the National League West, they would be slightly above San Diego. San Diego's 84, and I've got them at 86. So they would be slightly above them. If they played in the American League West, they would be below Houston. They would be below Seattle. If they played in the American League East, they're going to be behind Baltimore, behind New York, behind Boston. If they played in the American League Central, they're just behind Minnesota. So my point is this. They're probably the 10th best team in Major League Baseball. They're not the big power Brewers. They're not a team to fear. And the Nationals, the Nationals, they're a below 500 team. They're a young team. They're trying to get there. They got some talented kids. I got them at 73 wins right now. Power rated at 451 is their winning percentage. So when you start to think about kind of where this game comes out, they can make up quite a bit of ground because the pitcher, Dallas Keuchel, is not good enough. And the pitcher on the other side he's one of these guys I kind of worry about. I don't think he's kind of there yet. I think we'll see. But Parker is a young kid pitcher. He hasn't pitched a lot of innings in Major League Baseball. This is the first season. So I haven't – what I mean by I haven't been able to dive deep into it enough. I don't know how many innings he's pitched in the minor leagues. But he's getting to a point where I'm not sure how many innings they're going to let him go because he's pitched quite a bit. And he's done well. So I like what he has to offer. I think that this is a good play. So I'm betting on, and when I tell you I give these out to my guys, I bet these games personally. That's the difference. So this is a game I'm betting today. I'm betting Parker as an underdog for the Washington Nationals today at whatever you can get him at plus 122, plus 112, depending on where your book is. So that's one play I think that is pretty good. And now, as we go along, let's keep these in time order. So that was the Brewers game, and then the next game. The next game's going to be same time slot, 4:10 rotation, 9:65, 9:66. This is Texas and Houston. So Houston won this game yesterday, and what's interesting is, when Houston was, well, they have been, they've still been, they've been a good team, but when they were a dominant team, there's rivals that people don't know about, and Texas has always been a Houston rival. It hasn't been necessarily the other way, where Houston has always been a Texas rival, because Houston was more wanting to beat the Yankees and wanting to beat the Red Sox and some of these kind of teams. They could care less about the Rangers. The Rangers were not even on the radar screen there for a little while. But the Rangers, they always wanted to beat Texas, or they always wanted to beat Houston, and because it's a battle of Texas, and it's a locality thing. And I thought I was always making money betting on Texas for a while, because they played Houston as tough as they could play them. And today's matchup is Evaldi against Arrighetti, and again we're at this spot where we go and say, what's the line? Where does that? Because that's where you start. Everything starts with the line. And when I'm looking at this game, my number on this game is Houston minus 105 and Texas minus 105. So it's a pick 'em is my number. And then when I looked at the line just a minute ago, it was minus 119 for Texas, or minus 110. I've seen that out there too, minus 110. So a little bit favored towards the Texas side. So that really creates just minimal value on spread numbers to the Houston side. But I'm betting Texas. I'm not betting Houston. I'm going to bet Texas. I'm betting Evaldi today. And I'm betting two things. I'm betting against Arrighetti, and I'm betting on the Houston offense. One thing that I was waiting for and finally happened. Marcus Semien woke up. And now to lead their offense, they have Marcus Semien and they have Seager. And those two guys are leading when those two guys lead their offense, their offense is really good and they score runs. And Arrighetti is so. Let me explain Arrighetti. Arrighetti, and maybe I'm saying it wrong, but I think that's how you say it. But Arrighetti is a guy that when you bring him in, and then I got to go to my other screen here. You bring him in and you look at him and you go, his game score for the season is a 43. Now you got to remember when he first started, he had some tough outings, and he got a little better. And his game score for the last 7 is a 40. So okay, they found out what he is, and they're hitting him again. So I look at him and go, what does he have to offer that's any good? He does 2 things. The first thing he does, he gets a lot of soft contact. And the second thing he does is he gets a lot of strikeouts. So he's 10 strikeout guy. So that means the balls are less in play. Okay, well, and there's soft contact. So okay, well, maybe he's a good pitcher. Well, the issue becomes is his xFIP numbers of 504, and like in comparison, because that's what we want to do is compare what the other team's got. He's a 3.54, so you got a 1.5 run advantage there. And then when you kind of slide this out, and I'm just going down my spreadsheet. The issue with Arrighetti is he walks guys, 4.98, puts guys on base. So he puts guys on base, and his home run rate is 2.08 per 9 innings. It's not the worst one on the board today, but anything over 2 is god-awful. He's in the worst 25% of all of baseball. And that only matters if the other team's hitting. So we got to flip this over and look at the offense for the other team. And Texas, they are 5th in offense, number 5. And the Houston Astros, number 23 in offense. So there's a pretty big edge there. So I like that idea. The Texas Rangers over the last 7 games, they're averaging 6 runs a game. That's pretty good. So I'll take that where the Texas Rangers have 5 guys with 1 WAR or higher, offensive WAR, and only 2 guys detracting from that. And Houston has 2 guys over that number, 1 WAR. So and then 2 guys detracting from it. So I think that when you're really looking at this game and you kind of look at it, you go, man, there's a lot of opportunity for Texas. Texas has 5 guys hitting the ball well. They're facing a pitcher that gives up home runs and walks batters. And then when you look at go back over here, and then you look at it from another level and you go, holy cow, Arrighetti's batting average against 295, almost 300. And his walks plus innings pitched, it's going to be high, right? Because it gives up batting average and he walks people, 1.75. Almost 2 guys per inning getting on base. I like my chances. And then you swing it out just a little bit further and go, well, what's his problem? Well, his problem is WPA, winning percent added. He makes mistakes. He's a negative minus 0.36, and for the season, he's a minus 70. So it means that when you add up all the good stuff he does and where he puts the ball and outcomes and all that stuff, and then you add up all the bad ones are more than all the good ones. So I like the idea that I can take the Texas Rangers and I can get a better offense or a good offense, especially when I have Marcus Semien woke up. And it's not that he's the most important guy, but when he and Seager are there, oh my God, that makes that offense just so much better. And it would be even better if Garcia would ever wake up. Adolis Garcia has just been so bad. Anyway, so as we go through this thing and we kind of look at it that way, he doesn't have ground balls. He throws a lot of fly ball outs. So I like where this game sits for the Texas Rangers. I know it's a rivalry game, but it's like a pick'em. Give me the Texas Rangers. Give me the better pitcher. Evaldi for the season, game score 57. His last 7 starts, 56.7. Consistency, man. He's right there. Batting average against is 200. Whip rate, 0.93. So here we go. We got a guy who's going to put 2 guys on per inning, a guy that can't get 1 guy on per inning. So that's where that edge goes. That's where I think you have value. and you play the Texas Rangers today. So 2 more plays. And I'm a proponent of this, and I don't want anybody to kind of go out here and go, well, how many units you putting on this stuff, and how many of this? Look, I don't do it that way. I go out and I got 4 plays. I'm going to bet them all the same. I'm going to go find the sports book that I have the opportunity with, that I can get the best number at, and if my budget for the day, if my budget for the day is $700, I'm going to take those 4 games, divide them into those $700, and go, well, there's 150 on this one, 150 on this one, 150 on this one, 150 on this, or whatever the number of math comes out to. I'm not going to go and say, well, this one gets 2. Now, there are times where I'll step out, but most of the time, that's how I play. So I don't have a favorite play. I have good, strong feelings sometimes, and I'll step out when I have that. Yesterday was kind of close, and if I did that, I would have lost, because the game I liked yesterday. So yesterday, just so you know, on the show I was 1-2, but for my guys I was 2-1. And the game that I lost yesterday was the Minnesota Twins. I liked the Minnesota Twins yesterday, and Joe Ryan was bad. Well, he wasn't bad. He wasn't tough. Put it that way. I like tough pitchers, and what I mean by tough is when times get tough, that they don't give in and they don't give up runs. And he didn't have that issue. He gave up runs. And the other side, the Minnesota Twins, they were 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They left on like 10 guys. So it's not that they didn't have opportunities. It's they didn't capitalize when they had their chance. So anyway, point being is, when you do these things and you get these things in your head that, okay, I'm going to bet this one at 2 units. I'm going to bet this one at 1 unit. That's this one at 5. And only do that if you really have that thought of that's how you want to manage your bankroll. I look at it like I have exposure, and exposure means I have to manage my bankroll and then divide out the numbers. And then look, at the end of the day, you're going to have bets tomorrow, right? This isn't the end of the world. So tomorrow I need to make money too. And the next day I need to make money too. So why do I need to go bet 300 on this game and only 100 on this one, for example? And then I lose the one that's 300 and win the one that's 100. I go 50%, but yet I lose $200. I don't do that. So look at those things that way when you're managing your bets and you do that kind of stuff. So here's 2 more games. They're later games. This one and sometimes when you say things out loud to yourself, things get a little scary, but they're not. So don't think that way. So this game is a 7:15 start, right? Yeah, there it is. 7:15 start. Well, they're both 7:15 starts. So this is 9:59, 9:60. This is the Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres. Now, I've been disappointed in the Atlanta Braves all season long because, coming into this season and all of last season, I've just been all over the Atlanta Braves, thinking how good they are, and they hit and they do this and they do that, and they get good pitching, and they just haven't done it. They're just not awake. But I won with them last night. Schellenbach pitched really well, and even the Padres decided, look, we don't want to throw Vasquez. We're going to move our guys up and we're going to throw Waldron. Okay, well, they threw Waldron, knuckleballer goes out there and they got beat 6-1. So today you have the Atlanta Braves, and the Atlanta Braves are throwing Lopez. And again, the Padres are moving their guy up. This is Dylan Cease. So Dylan Cease is a great pitcher in terms of stuff. He's got the stuff, man. And when I pulled up his numbers and his stuff plus number is the best of any pitcher going today. It's 128. That's really awesome. It's real good. He throws a lot of good stuff. He throws hard. He got a lot of movement, all that stuff. he just, for whatever reason, is a 500 pitcher. So you can bet against him a lot. I bet on him sometimes because there's right spots to bet on, but you bet against him a lot. I would rather bet against him because you get great value than betting on him. And that's where I'm at today. I'm going to take the Atlanta Braves in this underdog role again. I bet on them yesterday. I'm going to bet on them today. And here's where I'm coming up with the information, right? So I've been sharing this information about Sierra numbers and all that stuff because I don't get into the metrics 100%. But and this is going to make not any sense, right? So Cease is a 3.07 Sierra number, which is top 25 in baseball. It's really good. Lopez is a 3.95, almost a one-run variance to where you would go, the Padres have an edge on the mound. And then strikeouts, Cease is the best strikeout pitcher today, 12.81 strikeouts per 9 innings. Less balls in play for the Braves. And then Lopez, though, 10.59, still top 25% of all baseball. Then you go, okay, that kind of counterbalances that a little bit. Where you start to see some differences in why this comes out this way is this. Dylan Cease, WPA, so winning percent added. And remember, we just said he's a great pitcher. This is where you can make money by finding this stuff. He's a minus 0.69. There is one pitcher, and if I go up here and find it, it's Spence for the A's. There's only one pitcher today who's worse than him at WPA. So again, when WPA, winning percent added, what you're looking at is the whole lineup of great stuff goes on this stack. Okay, they add up. This pitch was great. This outcome was great. This was great. That was great. All the great stuff adds up over here, and it comes up to a total of whatever. Then all the negative stuff gets added up over here. All the bad pitches, all the negative outcomes, all that stuff comes over here. Well, when you have more negatives than you do positives, that means you make mistakes. You're getting hit. The ball's flying out. That's what something's happening. So he's a negative 69, second worst on the board today. And then if I slide that over, his home run rate is 2.08. So his mistakes, they're not getting hit for like little singles. His mistakes, they're flying out of the yard. They're going home runs. So that's a huge impact in a baseball game. Is you get a guy on base because an error happens in front of you, and then a guy hits a home run. Okay, holy crap, you're behind 2 runs already. So and you got to keep working, and that's where I think you run into the problem of Dylan Cease. The other problem you have with Dylan Cease is it takes him a lot of pitches to get through innings. His innings count. Let me flip over to here to get to that number. There we go. He averages 5.2 innings a game. So a guy like Seth Lugo is 6. Evaldi is 6. A guy like Feltner, who pitches for the Rockies, is almost 6, 5.8. Rodriguez for the Orioles, he's a 6.2. So Kirby's a 6.2. You have a lot of guys that are going 6 innings. And your major guy needs to go 6 innings. Because if he goes 6 innings, you can bring in a pretty good guy in the 7th and then an 8th and the 9th. You only got 7, 8, 9, and you got guys that can pitch those innings. If you go 5 and something, you got to bring in somebody in the 6th inning, and that's a 4th guy. Well, your 4th guy in the bullpen is not as good as your closer, and he's not as good as your setup guy. So you have opportunities to get a bad bullpen guy in the game. And Dylan Cease needs to go deeper in games. So we need to keep an eye on that. So how do we do that? When you watch a baseball game, it takes, on average, 15 pitches to go through 1 inning. So that's how I watch it. If a guy goes the first inning, 15 innings, I look at it and go, okay, second inning, he needs to be at 30. 4th inning, he needs to be at 60. Then you have the 5th inning, 75. The next inning is 90, and that's when they come out. So somewhere between 90 and 100 pitches that come out of the game, and that's 6-7 innings, right? That's what we're talking about. So if you find your pitcher throwing 30 innings or 30 pitches in the first inning, you're not going to make 6 innings. You can already just, he's not. He's going to go 5. And then if you're really in tune with what's happening, now you can go and maybe you have to get this in your head that relief pitchers would be starting pitchers if they were good enough, but they're not. So they're the next tier of pitchers other than the starters that the team has. So they're not good pitchers. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're not the best pitchers that this team has. So that's why they put them where they are. And if you got guys that got to come in the 5th and the 6th and the 7th, those are guys that aren't being trusted and relied on to get the last 6 outs of the game. You got to put those guys in the 4th, 5th, 6th inning. Guess what's going to happen? You should live bet the guy who's having pitching troubles, because they're going to put in these bullpen guys. And these bullpen guys are going to get hit. So food for thought. Watch that. See how that kind of works through, and get good at it before you start betting it. Live bets are tricky. So, but foreshadowing, right? Looking ahead. That's how you do that. You 15 pitches per inning. If the guy's well above, and especially if he's at 30 pitches in 1 inning, he's 1 inning just taken off of how far he can go. So that's where you find Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is one of those guys. He's made 19 starts for the Padres. They are 10-9 in his starts. 500 pitcher. That's what we just said. He's a 500 pitcher. Lopez made 16 starts for the Braves. In those 16 starts, he's a bulldog, man. They're 11-5. 11-5. He's won 11 of those starts. His SOPS plus over the last 28 days. So this is how he controls the opponent's offense. It's at 87. That's really good. 13% better than an average pitcher. Cease, 133. 33% worse than an average pitcher. So when you think you have an edge because the guy's a big strikeout guy, it's not always the case. And then the other part of this that I think that when you hear most guys talk about these bets and betting baseball, this is all you hear is the pitchers. If you're not handicapping baseball offense, you're not doing it right, period. Because one of the largest differentiations in the game today is how one team's offense is versus how another team's offense is, and whether they're streaking hot or streaking cold. And this particular Padres team currently is 28th in offensive WAR, 28 out of 30. We said how bad the White Sox were, or was it the White Sox? Yeah, how bad the White Sox were, 30th out of 30. This team's 28. What's even worse is their isolated power is 30th. They're dead last at what an offense is trying to do. Isolated power, they're trying to get extra bases. Hey, thanks, Jay Barry says awesome breakdown. Thanks. They're trying to hit extra bases, trying to hit home runs, trying to do damage. Isolated power measures that. And if you are 30th out of 30 teams, you're not doing it good. Weighted runs created plus, minus 46%. They are 46% worse than an average offense. So should they be a big favorite over the Atlanta Braves like they are? I don't think they should. I think the value here, and I think where you're going, is the Atlanta Braves side. Now, look, the Atlanta Braves aren't out there killing the ball either. But what they are doing is being productive enough. They're 1% weighted runs per created plus, so a little bit above average, right at that kind of average number. They got 3 guys over offensive 1 WAR, where the Padres have 1. They have Cronenworth. Cronenworth's the guy. But they got 5 guys pulling away from their offense, 5 of them. And, Tatis is now out. So you're not going to have Tatis in this lineup. So they're not super scary to go face. So I like the idea that the Atlanta Braves are scoring 4.7 runs a game. The Padres are scoring 3.4 runs a game right now, and you have value here. And remember what we said about the mistakes that Cease makes, and that they go for home runs. And you can measure that not necessarily by home run rate for the offense. Isolated power is a key number. Well, the Braves, they're 18th in offense, but they're number 2 in isolated power. They do damage when they hit the ball. So I like the idea that we're going to be able to bet the Braves today at plus money. They're an underdog. So take the Braves. I like the Braves. So the last play today that I want to give out, and one of my favorite things, and I did this yesterday, right? I was on the Braves yesterday, so I'm back on the Braves again. I'm not afraid to go back to back. But I was on the Twins yesterday, and I'm going to go back to the Twins again. I'm not afraid to go and say, well, yesterday wasn't your day, right? Because, we kind of broke it down a minute ago that they had 11 opportunities, only got one base hit when they had runners in scoring position, and their pitcher just wasn't tough as nails yesterday. So today you have Woods Richardson. I don't know how he got it. I mean, whatever. Woods Richardson's pitching, and he's pitching against Birdsong. Now, the first thing we got to do is, if you don't know who Birdsong is or Woods Richardson, you got to go look at it and go, what kind of stuff do they have? Because you can grade their stuff. I mean, you can figure it out. Woods Richardson has below average stuff, but he's still a good pitcher. He's got an 86, but his pitching plus number is 98. So he's doing well. And then you have Birdsong, who's a 101 on the stuff plus number, and he's a 95. So he's actually pitching worse than what Woods Richardson is. So Birdsong's made 3 starts. He's a call-up kid. He's supposed to be pretty good with good stuff, but he's really not seasoned yet. He's really not ready for the big leagues. But they don't have any pitchers, so he's got to pitch. So you put him out there. He's a 4.59 Sierra xFIP number, 4.37 Sierra, 5.26. Well, he's in the 25% worst of baseball. His strikeout rate is decent, 9.9. His walk rate's high, 4.4. His home run rate's 1.88, so almost 2. So that's high. Where Woods Richardson, his deal is you can't get base hits. His batting average against is 192. His whip rate's 115. You're not going to get on base that hard. You got to work to get on base. He doesn't beat himself. He walks guys, but he gets double plays, gets outs, gets a lot of ground. He gets outs. So the Birdsong kid is 1.53 whip rate. Again, top 25% worst in all of baseball. 1.5 guys getting on base per inning with a batting average of 273 against. They can do some stuff, right? He's got to come up with huge stuff, having a huge day, and he's had his 3 starts, 39, 44, 52. So his average game score is 45. Average game score for Woods Richardson is a 53. So 53 is pretty good. I mean, that's 50's, average, right? 53, 54, that's a pretty good starter. You get to 56, 57, 58, you got kind of an all-star guy. 60, you're an ace. I mean, that's just the way it is. There's very few of those. Lopez, by the way, the breakdown we just did a minute ago, game score 60 for the season for Lopez. Cease is a 55. So kind of tells you a little bit how that stuff really works, and kind of helps you with analyzing what kind of pitcher you got and what you're doing, right? So anyway, Minnesota, you got a little bit of an edge on the pitching side, but WPA, win percent added, this is where Woods Richardson excels. He's 1.21 for the season. There's 1, 2 guys, 3 guys. There's 3 or 4 guys better than him today, but very few run over the 1 number. The guys that are better than him, are going to be guys like Rodriguez for Baltimore, and Luis Heel for the Yankees, and who's this one? This is that's a surprising one. Is Abbott for the Reds? He's a 1.7. I wish the number was smaller. I bet them today. I bet them the last 2 days on the run line, and they've been great. And you know what's great is you can bet these minus say 140 pitchers or minus 150 pitchers, put them on the run line and get plus 115, plus 120, and they win and cover. That's the greatest play in the world. So anyway, you go back and situationally we look at this game, and Minnesota Woods Richardson, I guess is the best way to say it. He's made 15 starts. And you want to bet on guys that win. You don't want to bet on guys that lose very often because they lose. So he's made 15 starts. In those 15 starts, the Minnesota Twins are 11-4. 11-4. Now notice one thing I don't ever do, and I'm not ever going to come out here and tell you what a starting pitcher's won-loss record is. I don't ever look at it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what his personal one-loss record is. I don't care. What I do care about is when I make a bet and I bet on Woods Richardson, I'm betting on him. I'm betting on the team. I might be betting it for different reasons, but I care what the team does, right? This is a team sport when it comes to certain aspects, right? The Minnesota Twins have to win if you bet on the Minnesota Twins, but you're betting individual performance to help you make a team sport bet or a team sport thing. So when I look at an individual, I don't care what his individual team number is. So if he's made 16 starts and the Twins are 11-5, that's great. That's what I want to know. He might have a record of 8-8. I don't know what his record is, but my point is that when you look at it, make sure that you look at the stuff that matters. Don't look at the stuff that can get you lost. So I like that idea. He's 11. Where is he at? There. Got the wrong guy. There he is. And his last 28 days, SOPS plus. So how does he carry out and affect the opponent's offense? He is a 78. So he's 22% better than average pitcher. 22% better. For the season, he's a 78. Consistent, man. This guy is consistent. That doesn't mean he's not going to go out and get blown up, but he's consistent. It's good. I like it. Birdsong. He's made 3 starts, so we can get an idea. He's had enough at-bats to qualify for certain things. And one of them is his last 28 days SOPS plus, 135. He's 35% worse than an average offense at controlling the opponent's offense. And if you're the Giants and you're trying to win this game, obviously you got to go and say, hey, I got to control this offense. The Twins are 7th in offense. They're the 7th best offense right now, 26% better than an average offense. They got 4 guys carrying the load that are over the 1 WAR. And then the Giants offense is middle of the pack 14th. So again, you go out and you look at this, and this is a pick'em game, man. The Twins are minus 106 when I saw it last. So those are my 4 spots that I like today that I'm personally betting and that I'm going to give my clients. So hopefully that stuff kind of worked out. I apologize that I was 10, 15 minutes late today, but hopefully you got something out of the show. Like always, guys, go follow me on Twitter at Webby20MLB. Go to my website, MLB-daily.com. You can find information there. I do write-ups and stuff there. I haven't been on there for a little while to do any new articles. I got to go back to doing that. Sign up to be a client if you want. It's $100. Jay asked a question yesterday about how to do that. You just go there and there's a link that says membership or something. You click that link and you click the button and then you go and say it's $100 and then it takes it, right? If that's not simple enough, I mean, if you don't use credit cards or things that way, you can always follow me on Twitter. I also have Venmo and and all the other PayPals and all that stuff. So you can do it that way if that makes it better. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But the idea is contact, talk, communicate, ask questions. and hope to grow this thing. So tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow is the last day before the MLB All-Star break. My plan is to obviously have a day like this. We'll do tomorrow. We'll do tomorrow. But what we won't do is we'll be, I don't normally do shows on Monday, but obviously no reason. I'm not going to do a show for the All-Star game. And then I'll come back, I think, I'm not sure when the games start again. I think they're Friday or Thursday. I think they're Friday. So I'll come back. We'll do some stuff on Friday. And then I was thinking about if there's an interest, if there's an interest, I could just do a gambling show where I'm not necessarily talking about picks and that stuff. We can just break stuff down and we can talk about the ins and outs of gambling. And we can do a show like that during the break if you want to. So, let me know. Give me food for thought, some stuff to think about, the questions you might have. And we can do that, sometime next week too. Otherwise, look, guys, I appreciate it. Again, we have another large crowd here, another large crowd on a Saturday. So this is great. Things are picking up. The channel's working. It's doing what we're supposed to be doing. Help me out. I'm not, I don't know what those guys are called, influencers that are on. I'm not that, but I do need help when it comes to, the like buttons, the subscription buttons, and all that stuff. And I don't see that. It doesn't happen. So I'm asking you guys to do it. And I'm asking you to do it because it helps this channel more than you could ever think about. Because people that want to sponsor this channel look for that stuff. They look for how many guaranteed watches, how many things you watch, how many stuff you got. So please go do that stuff. Retweet, like, share, all that kind of stuff, because it really does grow and it really does make it work. And I appreciate it. Jake, Barry, thank you again. We're getting, lots of comments, lots of communication, and a shout out to him because he's leading the charge when it comes to that. So I really, really appreciate it. And again, guys, questions, concerns, issues, let me know. Be glad to take it. You want to become a client, that would be awesome too. And we'll just go from there and hopefully have a great Saturday. And I will see you tomorrow at noontime, and we will go from there. Have a great day, guys. Good luck.